All right, so get ready for a deep dive. That might just bend your reality a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Today, we're exploring this idea of the Matrix.
Okay.
Not the movie, though.
Right.
It's definitely relevant. But the concept that our lives might be shaped by, like, unseen forces designed to keep us in check.
Yeah.
We're basing this whole deep dive on an article
Okay.
from a Greek website called antekestisinalithea.gr,
Wow.
which translates to, "Can you handle the truth?" And let me tell you, this article is definitely asking that question.
It's interesting how that idea of the Matrix has kind of popped up throughout history in different forms, whether it's philosophy or conspiracy theories. But what's striking about this article is how directly it calls out the forces at play.
Yeah, they don't pull any punches.
No.
The article claims that there are these powerful entities.
Yeah.
And they've basically implanted belief systems and ideas into our society. Think like ideas about good and evil, social norms, even what we consider normal behavior.
Right.
It's almost like they've given us a pre-programmed operating system. But most of us are just clicking accept without even reading the terms of service.
Yeah, and what's fascinating is that the article doesn't just stop at those abstract ideas.
Right.
It gets really specific.
Okay.
Using the Project Bluey Beam conspiracy theory as an example.
Right. Bluey Beam, for those who haven't heard of it, is this theory that those in power are going to stage these massive holographic events in the sky.
Oh, wow.
Like fake alien invasions.
Okay.
Or second comings.
Interesting.
The idea is to manipulate people through, like, fear and awe.
And while that might sound like something out of a sci-fi movie, the article uses it to highlight a much bigger point.
Right.
We need to critically examine the information we're given, the beliefs we hold dear, and even the systems that seem completely normal to us.
It's like how much of our reality is actually chosen by us, and how much is just accepted because it's always been that way.
Exactly.
Which brings us to one of the most thought-provoking and maybe even unsettling points the article makes. The idea that even love, something we generally see as positive and essential, could be part of this system of control.
This is where the article really goes down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
It suggests that love, as we understand it, is a tool to keep us emotionally bound to this reality.
Hold on a second. Are they saying all love is bad? Because that seems a little extreme.
Not necessarily bad, but perhaps more complex than we're led to believe. The article breaks down the word love etymologically, tracing it back to Greek words that mean excessively, and to acquire possess. It's suggesting that what we call love can often be possessiveness, jealousy, and a need for control disguised as something pure and good.
Okay, I see what they're getting at.
Right.
I mean, think about the times love has felt controlling or limiting.
Yeah.
Like you're being held back or defined by someone else's expectations.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder if there's more to the story of love than we're taught.
And to support this, the article quotes the Gospel of Philip, which states that those controlling the Matrix deliberately manipulated language to deceive us.
Wow.
They allegedly took the names of good things and attached them to things that actually keep us bound to their system, and vice versa.
Wow.
It's like they're twisting the meaning of words to keep us in the dark.
So we're being tricked into thinking we're experiencing something genuine when it's actually not. That's a pretty wild idea.
It is.
But if they can manipulate something as fundamental as language, what else are they manipulating?
Exactly.
And how do we even begin to see through it?
Well, the article suggests that the first step to breaking free is recognizing the falseness of this reality.
It's like taking the red pill, right?
Yeah.
Seeing the world beyond the code, beyond the illusions.
Exactly. And the article uses a powerful quote to illustrate this. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
Oh, wow.
From the Gospel of John. It's suggesting that once you see the Matrix for what it is, you can start to break free from its control.
But how do we even start to see the truth when everything around us is designed to keep us in the dark?
Right.
It seems like an impossible task.
Well, according to the article, the path to liberation involves something they call emotional and material detachment.
Okay, detaching from the things that bind us to this reality.
Yeah.
Makes sense on a theoretical level. But what does that actually look like in practice? What am I supposed to do? Give away all my possessions and live in a cave?
Not necessarily. The article doesn't advocate for becoming hermits.
Right.
It's more about recognizing what truly holds power over you.
So like identifying the things we're most attached to and figuring out if they're serving us or holding us back.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more challenging.
Okay.
The article argues that even seemingly positive things, like attachments to loved ones, can hinder our liberation.
Okay.
It suggests that no matter how pure or well-intentioned they may be, these attachments can keep us tethered to this manufactured reality.
Wait, so even loving relationships can be a trap?
Yeah.
But isn't human connection like a fundamental need? How can we possibly thrive without it?
It's a complex question.
Yeah.
And the article doesn't offer easy answers.
Right.
It's more about shifting our perspective.
Okay.
It suggests that our true essence lies beyond the confines of this matrix. And clinging to this reality, even its positive aspects, might prevent us from reaching that true self.
So it's not about like erasing our emotions or becoming completely isolated, but more about understanding how our attachments, even the positive ones, might be influencing our choices and keeping us from seeing the better picture.
Exactly.
Okay.
The article uses a pretty striking analogy to illustrate this point.
Okay.
It talks about earthbound spirits stuck in this reality because of their intense love for someone who has passed on.
Oh, wow.
They're unable to move on because their emotional attachment is so strong.
Wow. That's heavy.
Yeah.
It's like their love is literally holding them captive.
It is a cautionary tale
right?
about the potential consequences of clinging too tightly to this world and its illusions. And it brings up an important question for you listening.
Okay.
What are you most attached to in this world? What people, possessions, or ideas would you find it hard to let go of?
It's almost like we're being asked to take inventories of our attachments and figure out which ones might be holding us back.
Right.
But this idea of detachment can feel a bit cold, you know?
I see what you mean.
Like, are we supposed to just like turn off our feelings and become robots?
The article doesn't advocate for becoming emotionless.
Okay.
Instead, it suggests a different way of relating to our emotions. Think of it as becoming the observer of your own life, rather than getting swept away by every feeling or desire.
So more like stepping back and gaining some perspective, rather than letting our emotions completely control us.
Yes.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that our true essence, our true power, lies within us, not in external things or even our own fleeting emotions.
Okay, that makes sense.
Right.
But if we're not supposed to find happiness and fulfillment in the things we're attached to, where are we supposed to find it?
The article suggests that true fulfillment comes from connecting with our spiritual origin, a source that exists beyond the matrix's reach.
So it's about remembering where we came from, like accessing some kind of higher consciousness or something.
You could think of it that way. The article doesn't get into specifics about what this source is, but it emphasizes the importance of remembering and longing for it as a way to break free from the matrix's illusions.
But how do we even begin to do that? It all sounds so abstract.
Right. Yeah.
Are we talking about meditation? Prayer? Astral projection? Give us some clues here.
That's where the article gets a little mysterious.
Okay.
It doesn't provide a step-by-step guide.
Right.
It's more like it's giving us a nudge in the right direction and encouraging us to find our own way.
So it's a journey of self-discovery, not a prepackaged solution.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's about exploring different spiritual practices,
right,
connecting with our intuition, and ultimately finding what resonates with us on a personal level.
It's like we're being given a map, but it's a map with a lot of blank spaces that we need to fill in ourselves.
Precisely.
Okay.
Escaping the matrix isn't about following someone else's prescribed path.
Right.
It's about forging our own, becoming conscious creators of our own reality.
That sounds empowering, but also a little daunting.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'm ready to break free, but where do I even start?
Right.
Do you have any practical advice for our listeners who might be feeling a little overwhelmed by all of this?
Well, their article does offer some guidance.
Okay.
It points to a key concept that the ancient Greeks called metron ariston, which means moderation is best.
Right.
It suggests that by finding a balance between extremes, we can start to align ourselves with this true source and find our way out of the matrix.
Okay. Moderation makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do we apply that to this whole matrix situation?
Right.
What does it look like in practice?
It's about finding a balance in all areas of our lives,
Right.
not just in terms of material possessions, but also in our emotions, our thoughts, and even our spiritual practices.
So it's not about completely rejecting everything this reality has to offer.
No.
But rather approaching it with a sense of awareness and balance.
Exactly. It's about becoming conscious creators rather than unconscious consumers.
Right.
It's about choosing our values, beliefs, and paths, rather than simply accepting the ones that have been handed to us.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's about taking back our power, right?
Yeah.
Making choices that align with our true selves.
Right.
Even if those choices go against the grain, even if they challenge the status quo.
You got it.
Okay.
And that can be incredibly liberating.
Right.
But also a bit scary.
Yeah.
Because once you start questioning everything, once you start to see the matrix for what it is, there's no going back.
It's like we're standing at the edge of a precipice. We can either cling to the familiar, even if it means staying trapped in the matrix, or we can take a leap of faith and step into the unknown, embracing the possibility of true freedom.
It's a powerful choice, and one that each of us has to make for ourselves. There's no right or wrong answer. But the article suggests that even the act of questioning, of becoming aware of the matrix's influence, is a step in the right direction.
It's like we're waking up from a dream, right? Suddenly we're seeing the world with fresh eyes, questioning everything we thought was real.
And that can be a disorienting experience.
Yeah.
But it can also be incredibly liberating, because once you start to see the matrix, you can't unsee it. And that awareness gives you a choice. You can choose to stay plugged in, or you can choose to unplug.
This is making me think about all the choices we make every day.
Right.
From the food we eat, to the information we consume, to the people we spend time with. Are we making those choices consciously, or are we just running on autopilot, following the pre-programmed patterns of the matrix?
That's the million-dollar question, and the answer is probably a bit of both. We're all influenced by the matrix to some extent, but the more aware we become of its influence, the more choices we have.
So it's about being mindful, being present, and making intentional choices that align with our true selves. It's about becoming the authors of our own stories, rather than just characters in someone else's script.
Exactly. And that takes courage, because it means going against the grain, challenging the status quo, and maybe even making some people uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can imagine that not everyone is going to be thrilled when you start questioning the matrix.
Yeah.
They might even try to pull you back in.
Oh, absolutely. The matrix doesn't give up its prisoners easily, but the article reminds us that we have more power than we realize. We're not just pawns in someone else's game. We have the ability to think critically, to question authority, and to ultimately create our own reality.
It's like we have the potential to become neo-dodging bullets and bending spoons with the power of our minds.
Okay.
No, maybe not that literally.
Right.
But the point is, we have the power to break free.
And that's the most inspiring message of this whole deep dive. We're not powerless victims. We have the ability to choose. And the more choices we make that align with our true selves, the weaker the matrix's hold becomes.
That's a really empowering thought. It's not about escaping to some far-off utopia. It's about reclaiming our power right here, right now, in the choices we make every day.
You got it. And the article offers one final piece of guidance for those who are ready to embark on this journey of liberation. It reminds us of the importance of balance, of metron ariston, as the ancient Greeks called it.
Right, moderation in all things. We talked about that earlier, but how did that apply to escaping the matrix?
It's about finding a middle path, avoiding extremes, and cultivating a sense of inner equilibrium. It's not about rejecting the material world entirely, but rather approaching it with discernment and awareness.
So it's about finding a balance between our material needs and our spiritual aspirations, between engaging with the world and detaching from its illusions.
Exactly. It's about becoming conscious creators rather than unconscious consumers. And that requires a delicate dance, a constant awareness of the forces that are trying to shape our reality, and a willingness to make choices that align with our true selves.
Wow, this has been an incredible deep dive.
Yeah, it has.
We've covered so much ground, from implanted beliefs to emotional traps to the challenges of detachment and the importance of balance. It's a lot to take in, but hopefully it's given our listeners some food for thought and maybe even a few tools to start questioning their own reality.
And remember, this is just one perspective, one interpretation of the matrix concept. There are countless others out there. If this topic resonates with you, I encourage you to do your own research, explore different sources, and ultimately form your own conclusions.
Exactly, because the truth, as they say, is out there, but it's up to each of us to find it, to claim it, and to live it.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this mind-bending deep dive. Until next time, keep questioning, keep exploring, and keep seeking your own truth.